of the new branch of the bank. Oh yeah, that's right, they just hired him yesterday. I've heard that he has a lot of baggage. In other words, a lot of problems. Maybe he got fired from 2 different jobs. Maybe he has difficulty getting along with the employees of the bank. A lot of baggage. In other words, to say that, oh, he's got a lot of baggage means there are problems. He's not just a guy coming in, no problem, everything ready to do. No, baggage. Problems. He has a lot of problems. And luggage and flight. Flight.
Ticket.
A ticket?
Ticket.
Flight, a flight would be a noun that means
On time.
not on time. A flight could be late, it could be early, it could be whatever. A flight is the absolute idea of flying. Now you could have a flight of birds, not planes, birds. The birds are flying. The birds are in flight. They're in flight. Look at all the birds. They just took off. They're in flight. Flight. To fly. Now, of course, what is your flight number? Oh, that's the airplane that you'll be on to go to San Francisco. The number of the plane. And so that's the word flight. A lot of times just means the plane. But flight is to fly. The ball is in flight. The ball is flying, 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 flying. He went to catch the ball and missed it. The ball was in flight. Transportation. T-I-O-N refers to the act of something, the doing of something, the doing of what? Transported. Transported. You could be transported in a car, move from one place to another. You can be transported in a truck, one place to another, or a bus, or a train, or a plane. Transportation. Do you have any transportation? Yes, I have my car. I'm ready to go. What transportation will you use to go to Hong Kong? Oh, I'll fly. I'll take a plane. That'll be my transportation. Moving from transporting to transport one place to another. And that can be a mile or 2 kilometers, or it can be 1,000 kilometers or 10,000 kilometers. Transportation. The transportation secretary. That could be the person in the government, the transportation secretary, who is in charge of transportation for the country. He is the transportation secretary in charge of all transportation. Buses, trucks, cars, trains, planes. Transportation secretary. The crew.
Staff.
Staff, in a sense, yeah. The crew, you could have the crew on the plane, people, the pilots, the steward, the stewardess, whatever, or the crew on a ship. You could have a crew, a working crew, a group of people that are working, let's say, on the temple, the crew, the construction crew. So it's a group with a job, with a certain thing to do. A crew. You can have many different crews, construction crews, transportation crews, somebody working together on certain things. Most of the time you think of it as an airplane or a ship. But you can have crews around the city doing different things. The production crew of a movie. It is the people working at the site of the movie to make sure that the movie works. People with the cameras, people arranging the scenery or whatever it takes to be the production crews at a theater, at a movie, where they're filming the movie, making the movie. The crew is setting everything up. The crew. Aisle. Walk. Line to walk.
Stage for walking. Stage for walking. Big road of siege.
Right. An aisle. This would be the aisle. Seats all through. When you walk into the plane, you turn and walk down the aisle. A-I-S-L-E, aisle. Aisle. It's like there's no S. No S. Aisle. Almost like I will go today, or I'll go today. I'll walk down the aisle next Saturday at 10 o'clock. Oh, really? Congratulations. I think that's wonderful. What does that mean? I'll walk down the aisle next Saturday, 10 o'clock. I understand he's, yeah, it's happening. He's walking down the aisle next week. Down the aisle. And getting married. It's an expression, obviously. To walk down the aisle is when you walk into the church. You go down the aisle, the bride comes in, usually with the father. This is in America, I don't know what it's like here. And goes down the aisle, and then the wedding at the altar, and then the bride and groom walk down the aisle. So when you say, I understand he's walking down the aisle next week, getting married. So, but aisle and aisle. You have a seat in section 2, aisle, section 2, row 4, seat 1. Section 2, and then down the aisle to row 4, seat number 2. The aisle. The point, the area that's separating 2 rows of something or rows of something. An aisle, a path, in a sense, through the seats. Same as on the plane when you go down the aisle to the plane. Intercom. Intercom. The captain will be speaking over the intercom in 2 minutes regarding our departure. The intercom, it can be in a plane, it can be in an office building. It's a method of communication within a certain area, not through the whole world. The cabin, you'll hear the pilot talking to the passengers. We will be departing, ladies and gentlemen, in approximately 10 minutes. Please be seated. Make sure your seatbelts are fastened. Thank you very much for flying Thai Airlines. Have a pleasant flight. Bye. And that's the intercom, right in this little area. In an office, the boss can come over the intercom. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll let everybody go early today. The holiday tomorrow, so we're letting everybody go at 3 o'clock instead of 5 o'clock. He's on the intercom, just in the intercommunication in a small area. Intercom. Intercom, aisle, crew, transportation, flight, luggage, and baggage. Any questions about those words? aisle. Just don't even think of the S. Just aisle. Like I'll be going. Aisle.
อ่าน
Walking down the aisle.
อ่าน
You got it.
I will sit.
อ่าน
I will sit.
Anybody else?
But usually there are three seats in row. Aisle seat, aisle seats, middle seats, and between the middle seat and I think middle seat. Teacher.
You're right. You, for example, you buy your ticket at the tour, let's say 2 weeks before the flight, and you call up the airline and say, I'd like to fly to San Francisco. Yes, sir. At what time? Okay, the time, the date, yeah. And what about a seating? Are there any aisle seats? An aisle seat. The aisle of the airplane.
นั่งอยู่ข้างๆเป็นหน้าต่าง
And sleep.
ต่างเดินช่องต่างนั่งเดิน
And the aisle.
Yes, I'd like an aisle seat.
นั่งทางเดินกินกับทางเดิน
Little more room. Aisle seat, a seat on the aisle. Some people say, I would like a window seat by the window. Very few people say, I want to be in the middle. I like the middle myself. You know, because you never know who's going to come on either side, but that's another story. But so you can ask for the window seat or an aisle seat. And many people prefer an aisle seat because it's just much more convenient and you have a little more room on the one
ง่า
side.
ยไม่ต้องเรียกใคร
So,
ห้องน้ำ
I'm sorry, sir, all aisle seats are taken. Oh, really? Okay. I'll take a window seat. So that happens too. But an aisle seat would be a seat on the aisle.
ไฮไลท์วิ
The
ดีโอ
seat the stick to side. In the middle.
Right. Aisle seat.
I like because I can stand up, go to the toilet. No disturb anyone.
Well, yeah, of course. That's why most people would prefer it, but there's only so many. So you got to get the call in early. Otherwise, sorry, all aisle seats are taken. Oh, really? Any other questions about the words here?
Teacher, what is jump seat? Jump seat.
Jump
จำซีส
seat.
On the airplane.
The jump seat, I think, refers to the where the pilot is. The assistant or the co-pilot is in the jump seat. It's not in the cabin of the plane. It's in the cockpit. The cockpit is the, you have the whole cabin of the plane. You walk to the front of the plane, and the cockpit is where the pilot and the co-pilot sit and operate the plane. The doors close. The doors closed. Now they lock. It used to be they just closed, but now they lock because they don't want anybody hijacking the plane. So the cockpit is where the pilot and the co-pilot sit and operate the plane. They are in the cockpit. The jump seat is usually where the co-pilot is, or there's a seat behind the co-pilot that is the jump seat. Just an expression. Cockpit, aisle, seat, row, number. Any other questions about it? Baggage. The baggage turnstile. luggage, flight, transportation, crew, aisle, intercom, cockpit. Any questions about the pronunciation or the meaning? Intercom, aisle, crew, transportation, flight, my flight number. The birds are in flight, flying, flying, flying. Luggage and baggage, same idea. Okay. Well, we'll save these sentences for Monday, so we'll end the class here. If there are there any questions about what we've discussed today? No questions. Okay. See you Monday.
See you.
Wow.
Thank you, teacher.
Okay.